Variables are a way of storing numbers on your robot, storing text, being able to manipulate those numbers and text, and do a lot of very advanced things. We can only just briefly touch on the possibilities here in this tutorial, but it'll at least give you a place to start. We're going to write a program that counts the number of times that a touch sensor has been pressed. And so the first thing we need to do is go up to the Edit menu and define a variable. It starts out with a few variables predefined for you, but you really want to create your own. And one of the main reasons is you want to name it something that you'll remember what it's about months later after you come back to your program. Like I'm going to be counting the number of times a touch sensor has been pressed, so I could just call it count. But in 6 months, am I going to remember that it's a touch sensor count that I'm talking about? Well, probably not. And so it's much better to call it something really descriptive like touch count. You could get kind of wacky and silly here. You could name this fuzzy bunny tails, but I would really recommend that you don't, because in 6 months you're probably not going to remember what the heck fuzzy bunny tails are, and the novelty will wear off pretty fast. So much better to call it something descriptive and save your creativity for someplace else. Variables can be three different types: logic, yes, no, true, false kinds of things; numbers, which is what I'm going to want. A number is a value between -2 billion and +2 billion. And text, letters and numbers all strung together, mainly for use on the display of the robot. So I'm going to make a number, and we'll close that. So I'm going to count the number of times that a touch sensor has been pressed, so I'm going to want a loop. So I'll bring my loop out. And then variables show up here as the suitcase. I'm going to drag the suitcase out. Now I'm going to want to count touch sensor presses, and so that's going to be a weight. So I'll bring my weight out. And we'll just say it's on touch sensor, is on port 2. You'll see why in a little bit. And I'm going to count the number of times it's been bumped, pressed, and released. So after the touch sensor has been pressed and released, it's going to go here and do something with a variable. It's going to want to be the touch count variable that we defined. And you can either read or you can write to it. I'm going to read from it. Now I want to add 1 to it because I'm counting the number of times the touch sensor has been pressed. So we'll go to the math block. Now math blocks can do, basic math. And so I'm going to add something to it. It starts out just having two constants that I enter here, but I'm more interested in getting the value from my variable. So I'm going to click over there on that terminal and wire that into my math block. Now you'll notice that the A term is grayed out. And it's grayed out because it's already getting its value from someplace else. It's getting it from the variable. And my B term I could get from someplace else too, but in my case I just want to add 1. So now this terminal is going to have the result of that high-end math that we just did, which is adding 1 to something. So it's adding 1 to the variable, and now it's going to present that result here. Well, the first thing I want to do is put that back into the variable, because I want to have that variable increment start out at 0 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every time the thing's been pressed. So let's go get another variable block. In this case, we're going to write into it. So I'll say that I'm writing, and it's the touch count number that we're talking about. And so we'll take this output and wire it into there. So now touch count is equal to 1 plus the value that was originally in touch count. All right, so now I've got a value. Maybe I want to compare it to something, like maybe when the value of the variable gets up above 10, then I want to be able to let someplace else in my program know about it. So that's where this comparison block comes in. Grab the comparison block. And we're going to take the value from this and wire it into the A terminal of that comparison. So the comparison can be, is A less than equal, less than b, greater than b, or equal to b. In this case, I probably want to go greater than b, so go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then maybe when we get up to 10, we want to have it turn this terminal into true. So that's what this block is all about. It's going to compare the two values, a and b, and when a is greater than 10, then it's going to set this terminal equal to true. So now we've done something kind of useful. Well, how would you use it? Well, an example might be over here. Here's this program that I just wrote, and we're taking the output of this and feeding it into this other task. Saying, what the heck is going on here? Well, we have two tasks. Both of these are running at the same time, so we have two programs. This top one here is a wall follower, and so it's going to follow the wall, and it's going to do it until the value that's connected to this terminal is true. So notice what's going on here. We've set this loop here to be a logic loop. We say go until true. Well, where's that true coming from? Well, it's coming from this other task. So while the robot's busy following the wall, bouncing along, down here it's busy watching the touch sensor on port 2, which is a different touch sensor than this one. And it's adding 1 to the number and then seeing if it's greater than 10. And if it is, then it tells this guy to stop. So at that point, I could do something else out here if I wanted to. So there's a lot of power to variables, and I would suggest that you look at the help on them and you try experimenting with them. You'll find that you can do some pretty amazing things.